Hey, what's up guys? It's Yeti here. Welcome back to another video. So, I've been streaming a lot lately, mostly playing classic World of Warcraft Season of Discovery, and a lot of people drop by my stream and simply ask me, hey Yeti, is Phase 4 SoD worth playing? Is it worth getting back or getting into this game altogether? And in today's video, I want to answer that question because I've been playing a lot, I've been raiding, I also run a guild, and I've been playing every single phase of SoD so far, and I want to give my overall opinion on this phase. So I'll try to answer these questions and let's get right into the video. The first thing everybody will have to deal with is the leveling process itself. There haven't been done many changes when it comes to leveling itself. If you leveled 1 through 60 in the original classic, or if you actually played back in 2004, it won't be that much different, right? However, they did add some catch-up mechanics for players coming back for Season 4. So you do have a 150 XP boost with 300% gold boost from quests. This goes from level 1 through 50. And then from 50 onwards, you get only 50% boost XP. And this goes obviously up to level 60, so it's still going to be a little bit faster. Obviously, your characters are also stronger because of the runes and things like that. So I think leveling overall was not that bad. When I came back to P4, I actually picked up my priest, my healer priest character, which was played only in P1. So I had to go from level 25 to level 60. I think that took me around 1 week. But I did play every single day. So just to give you an idea, right? If you're going to be no-lifing, you're going to be level 60 pretty fast. All right, so the third thing I want to talk about is the rune catch-up. How to get runes from previous phases. This is obviously a very big deal. For you who don't know what runes are, they are just, these either abilities or very strong passives that you apply to your gear. You can change them all the time. They're like talents, but you can switch them all the time. Runes are really critical for enhancing your character's ability. It's going to make you level up faster. It's going to make you kill faster. It's going to make you heal, your teammates or hold aggro, depending on, what your role in the game is. But some of them are really, really hard to get. I have an example of a priest rune, which required me and my friends to be very coordinated in strat. Luckily, I had a guild group for that, and it did not, cause us to spend too much time on that. But some runes are really, really hard to get. Runes from previous phases are sometimes even more annoying because they require either dailies or they require you to have a, for example, the item to spawn the wild offering bosses. That's pretty annoying, So my recommendation would be to always try to get the runes that are in your current leveling zone, if possible. However, I think it's more on Blizzard to add ways to be able to easily just purchase runes from previous phases with either gold or with like the new currencies that are dropping now. That would honestly be my best idea. So yeah. The two specific practices when it comes to collecting runes for me were using Questy, which puts map icons on the, obviously both mini-map and the world map. And the second one is this website called Zockify. They have a checklist, which I used with very good step-by-step rune guides. I just always had that open. It's kind of like a Wowhead, but for SoD specifically, they have very good resources over there. So I would recommend you to check them out. I'm going to leave that in the comments or in the description of the video. So Season of Discovery Phase 4 brought, world bosses in Onyxia. These were obviously available at level 60 back in the days as well. But this time they are a little bit different. So both Kazakh, that is the world boss in Blasted Lands, and Zergos in Azara, they were previously just world bosses, but now they are instanced, which means they were scaled for roughly 20 players. They can be done by more. My guild, for example, right now is just killing them with 15 players because, it's not the hardest content out there. And they are on set lockouts. So for Europe, I'm speaking for Europe, they reset every Wednesday morning and every Sunday morning. So you can really try to get that loot. It's pretty easy loot, to be honest. If you pug, if you're a healer, it's really easy to get in there. And it's mostly one-shotting. They're not really, that hard to play. They don't really have that many mechanics. You just need to have enough DPS to kill them. So you can scale your group up to like 30 man and they're going to die pretty fast. Now, Onyxia, on the other hand, is still a raid. It was previously a 40-man raid, now is a 20-man raid. Again, you can also bring more players into this one. And we found Onyxia to be quite challenging. We killed her twice so far. But however, our first attempt, we did not kill her. I think we had like 5 pulls and we just decided to disband the pug. But now with the guild runs, we had 2 runs and we actually just cleared Onyxia pretty fast. Onyxia gives absolutely insane gear. So again, you know, if you have the possibility to bring more than 20 players, if you're pugging or whatever, Onyxia is pretty cool, pretty fun. Some new mechanics, you know, you actually got stuff going on. Tanks need to play, healers need to be engaged, and you know, you have actual strategy going on into these bosses. Again, there are so many videos out there for you to watch how they look like, but not too hard, not too easy. And I think that overall, I'm very satisfied with, you know, having alternative sources to getting like, you know, items and things like that. So for my 5th point of the video, I really want to talk about Molten Core. Molten Core is honestly easy. It is now a 20-man raid. You know, it was previously 40, and we actually, on the first week, me and my guild, we took the lowest difficulty, which is heat level 1, and we cleared all the way to Ragnaros and even had like, I think, a 50% rag attempt. This was all done in, I think, roughly 2 hours. We also had to go back, you know, do the reputation quests, get the, you know, the water thingy to click the runes, etc. You know, we basically did a lot of walking and very little killing, and we still got to rag insanely fast. But the reason we got there so fast is because we played on the easiest difficulty, and we are, you know, an experienced guild. A lot of us are, you know, mythic classic raiders, so we know how to avoid mechanics, how to play, how to do correct rotations, and you know, it was a walk in the park. So I'm really excited to do heat level 2 and then heat level 3. And you actually need to prepare for those heat levels because, you know, just to give you an idea, heat levels don't make only the bosses harder. They have a little bit more mechanics and stuff like that. They also have set requirements when it comes to fire resistance gear, so you don't get one shot by mechanics. And I think that's really cool because it adds another layer of having to farm gear outside of the raid, which has fire res on it. You can obviously farm that in Molten Core as well. But if you want to speed up your progression a little bit faster, you're going to have to go out, you know, farm certain dungeons, farm certain reputations. And then, you know, some items will have fire res, but less main stat on them, less crit, less spell damage. You know, so you're going to kind of like make the bosses harder by having that kind of gear on, but that gear is required to be able to survive. So I think this feature by itself is really good and really promising, you know, and it's actually a retail feature. Scaling, you know, raids by difficulty is a retail feature. And I think that's, you know, it's really good. I think it's done a wonderful job in SoD so far. So gear and progression, I've touched on this a little bit earlier. Want to talk about it again. I think that pre-bis farming tier 0 and 0.5 in dungeons has been probably the most fun I've had in phase 4 so far. Obviously raids have been incredible, but you know, we're only raiding like once a week. But farming pre-bis has been so cool, you know, having to go around all different dungeons, getting this specific item, that specific item, you know, doing the world tours, meeting new people, finding out new strats, skips, and things like that in dungeons has been really, really good. And, you know, this is something that was not really there in phases 1, 2, and 3 because the raid gear was just that broken and easy to get, right? So you would always go for the raid gear, but now you have so much available gear outside with reputation, with dungeons, and things of that sort. And I'm really happy we actually finally had the ability to do more than just raid, right? So you start with dungeon gear. You know, you can kind of progress to world boss drops maybe, and then you can finally aim to maximize your character inside Molten Core. That's kind of like the natural way of like building up your level of your character, right? Again, if you don't know what the items to go for, Zockify has very, very good pre-bis items. Wowhead has that as well. You know, you can check for your class, what is pre-bis, where you get it from. But, you know, spoiler alert, a lot of it will be from tier 0.5, which needs a lot of gold. To get gold, you will need to do, you know, both the world tour, we'll explain that later, and you might have to level up your professions. So I think the whole system kind of like feeds in itself, like very well done, feels like an actual complete game for once, you know, because SoD thus far was, you know, not the whole Azeroth unlocked, you know what I mean? All right, so for the 7th point, I wanted to talk about PvP changes in content. So PvP was getting a lot of balance changes in phase 3. especially when it comes to the time which it takes to burst down a player. Now you're not supposed to get one shot by everyone anymore, even though shamans still do that. Spoiler alert. But I think they have made PvP actually enjoyable. And also, ranking system in SoD was changed, so you can't lose ranks. It's from start of SoD. It's the same idea. Like you get up to certain thresholds and you cannot drop lower, which makes it, really friendly if you're not like some insane grinder who's going to play 24/7. It's a little bit better for the casual player base, but it's still a grind, so it's not for free. You don't get rank 14 for free. You kind of do, but it's hard to explain, You need to farm that honor, but you can't lose the rank. But I think it's really good. Every player should try PvP in SoD. Like the runes make it fun. The world is like, it's engaging. The new PvP event is pretty cool. Try these things out, and I can almost guarantee you're going to like it. And being able to buy the level 60 rare or the level 60 elite sets for PvP is going to feel really good, even in PvP. All right, so number 8 is economy and crafting. So, gear crafting in the past was really bad, in my opinion. It required so much gold. Especially, I think it was Nomoran. It had the most disgustingly expensive items I've ever seen, but they made it a lot more friendly. This time around, there are so many different ways to craft. Again, like I, as a priest healer, am going for the Argent Dawn shoulders, which are really easy to get, not that expensive. It's a couple of moon cloth. It is what it is. I'm a tailor anyways. And then I need to actually get a leatherwork crafted back piece. The healing one, it's something of the wild. And that's probably going to cost me a lot of gold. But that's fine, because it's a BIS item, and it should be a gold sink when it's that good. But overall, you don't really need that, right? You have a lot of BIS items dropping from the raid. But if you want a best of the best, there are obviously slots for each roles that are crafted on some, on some pieces that will be BIS from outside of the raid and really expensive, but, really worth getting. I want to give a little economic tip here, how to get gold. So I mentioned earlier, do world tours. Each boss above level 55 will drop a tarnished reel, which can be used to buy boxes in Booty Bay. These boxes can have all kinds of different mats and consumables in them. And you sell that on the auction house because players need that all the time. It's relevant currency, and you'll get gold that way. So every day that you full clear, Stratholme, Scholomance, UBRS, LBRS, things like that, you're going to get these coins. You can get, I think, 80 every single day, which would be actually crazy. That would be like 16 boxes. You're not going to get 16 boxes probably every day, but you can get so much money every single day by playing the game. Of course, you can also make professions, and you can collect, and you can boost, and you can do GDKPs, whatever you want to do. But I'm just saying, there are some ways you get guaranteed gold right now that are really, really good. Community and social aspects. So I think that the player count of Phase 4 sadly is not as high as Phase 1 and 2 and 3. It's still pretty bad right now. The numbers are coming off of Warcraft logs. So when you get online, when you see all those players in Iron Forge and Stormwind, it feels alive, but it's not like, insane, I guess. It's kind of sad. I think it deserves more players. I think more players will still come, but we're going to see. Guild activities are probably the single most important thing in WoW Classic. You need them. Well, it's optional, but I think you need them. World bosses, raids, Onyxia will all contribute so much loot to your guild, and they will make the next clear so much easier that it's almost stupid to not commit to being in a WoW guild. I am a guild master of a guild called Down on Lone Wolf Europe, and I think that this phase has been so insanely entertaining. Deciding the BIS pieces, deciding the loot prio, what we do first, what we do second, what we use our guild money on. It's been so interesting. There's been so many ways to optimize it. And I really think you guys should give, guild participation this time a try. I also think when it comes to pugging, the society has changed a bit. We're all working we're all living these insanely fast lives, where 100% pay is always, working, grinding, blah, blah, blah. And I think that because of that reason, pugging has become a lot more like min-max. People will look at parts as things of that sort. If you're going to be pugging, I do recommend you get the group bulletin board add-on. Without it, you're toast. It's not going to work. All right, so I want to talk about the pros and cons of Phase 4 thus far. I've written down some pros and cons. The pros would definitely be, number one, something I haven't spoken yet, but attunements. If you're a classic player, you know what I'm talking about. I think attunements are sick. I think they're awesome. They give you more things to do. They give you a difference between a noob and a experienced level 60 player who has done all of his attunements, he's done all of his homework, he is ready to raid, you know, and there's those players who just ding level 60, they think they can get boosted through everything, but they can't, because they haven't done the attunement, they can't even enter the raid. I think that's really sick. Raiding difficulties are so freaking good. That's the second pro so far. I think that, you know, copying that from retail in a way, but making it classic-like has been really successful. And I cannot wait to progress through all 3 heat levels, clear, you know, rag and kill the Molten Core on heat level 3. Level 60 content with decent rotation and kind of balanced classes is also really good pro. Classes feels good, you know, and you get, you know, somewhat advanced rotations in classes. That's also really nice. And I think the last con would be that PvP is just so easy to get into. It's so much fun as well. All around, I think that, you know, it's worth doing. Now, I have a couple of cons as well. PvP, again, might make you go crazy. Why did they put the damn PvP event at the raid entrance? I don't understand why they did that. I really don't. It's really annoying sometimes, but whatever. Especially when you're leveling, you'll know what I mean when you'll start playing. And lastly, of course, I think AV farming, Alterac Valley farming is so boring. I think other BGs are really fun and they deserve some love. So I hope Blizzard changes that. And that's really like my biggest pros and cons here for the phase thus far. I think overall, phase 4 is really good and it's really worth playing. I think there's nothing happening on retail for like a month now, pretty much. So play this. Have fun, enjoy it, and then you can get ready for the War Within when you've cleared the raid, when you've done everything, and you know you have more than enough time. You know, and even then, when the War Within drops, you know, going on raiding once a week, no problem. You know, Molten Core gets cleared probably in like 1 hour for every guild when they all have the attunements, they all have the reputation, they all have the gear. All right, so I want to give a final conclusion, guys. I think that phase 4 is you know very good. You should definitely go give it a try. All right, so thank you guys for watching this video. I would really kindly ask you to leave a like and, you know, leave a comment, of course, subscribe as well. And, you know, share me your thoughts on phase 4 so far, or maybe what made you quit SoD before in the previous phases, because I think there are so many reasons before, and have Blizzard actually fixed those reasons with phase 4 or not? That is kind of what we're trying to see now. For me personally, they have, but maybe for you, they haven't.